Hi, Internet denizens. I'm Ari, and I'm going to talk today about Eve Frontier, Solidity, and Mud. Um, so there's a new game coming out called Eve Frontiers, or Eve Frontier. It looks like Eve 2.0. Um, Eve is a space simulator game um, that is brutal. I love it. I've been playing on and off kind of since it came out. Um, and I'm really excited to start Eve Frontier. Eve Frontier, at it seems like it's going to be Eve, and they add a blockchain, and with that, they add the ability to write scripts to program starbases you own, and then also turrets and stargates. Um, and this is super cool, and I'm really excited about it. It's a little bit daunting because it requires the use of a language called Solidity, um, which will be my 18th programming language. Um, don't know much about it. I've read a little bit about it in the last couple days. So this video is probably going to be 50 to 70% true since I haven't played the game. I haven't signed my NDA yet, and I haven't programmed in Solidity or Mud yet. So that's cool. I'm sure there's almost 60,000 of you people who are in the same boat based off of Eve Frontier Discord participation. So that's super cool. Comes out in a couple days, and I'm super excited. Anyway, um, it looks like Eve Frontier exists because they want to open source it and they want to add blockchain stuff. Now, I'm not a tech bro. I am a physicist and a lawyer by training. Um, I have done 17 programming languages before. I'm not a master of any of them except maybe one. Um, but I just learn when I need to. Um, it looks like they want to open source the game. That's from the FAQ. And it looks like the blockchain stuff is cool for Eve because blockchain stuff is about verifying transactions, right? So, like, person A wants to give 100 ISK to person B, right? And person B gives a skin to person A, right? Um, Blockchain is good for this kind of stuff because you don't have to like trust the server, and the server doesn't have to do the data. You do it on the blockchain, and then both computers sort of verify it, and it's less code that CCP has to run. So that's cool. Um, and that's like normal transaction stuff. And then there's always the ship battles, right? So person A gives a missile to person B, right? So person A loses a missile and person B gets 30 kinetic damage, right? This is also really good blockchain stuff. And then CCP has been in the business of doing this kind of data transfer for like 20 years, and it got them to the point where like those kinds of bits for like the really large space battles became really burdensome for CCP. So they introduced time dilation, right? So if we slow down time, then the missiles fire more slowly, and then the servers in Reykjavik can process every, you know, uh, bit of kinetic damage or explosive damage like more slowly and catch up. Um, and so I guess the idea is that if you use blockchain, then like everybody sort of verifies the damage, and then less has to go to Reykjavik to get computed. So that's cool. Um, if you're going to do all this kind of stuff, then data security becomes really important. So blockchain's theoretically good for that too, right? So yeah, I think they wanted to do blockchain, so they picked Ethereum, which the people at Ethereum made the language Solidity, which allows you to write software to do all these transactions, which they call contracts, right? And theoretically, they're contracts for, um, you know, like giving money from this place to this place, or voting, or these kinds of weird things in games like eFrontier. Um, Solidity does all this stuff. So it goes into a lot of detail about like what data is public, what data can get accessed by other people, what data becomes somebody else's data, like, and the, which bits are yours, which bits are ephemeral, which bits go to somebody else, which bits get verified on the blockchain, all that kind of stuff. So that's why you need a language like Solidity. That's why you're gonna learn this new language. Yeah. Um, so the advantages of using Solidity is Solidity is built for these kinds of transactions, um, and it ensures that the transactions happen, right? Like, say one person like disconnects, like while ISK is moving from player A to player B, right? Or the blockchain fails or whatever. Solidity, if a transaction fails, like in the middle, Solidity makes sure the transaction reverts, and then an error message goes to the parties and stuff. That's cool. Um, and so it ensures the transactions and makes sure they fail properly. Um, and then it ensures which data is public, which data is private, which data gets like wiped, right? Like if you're making a transaction like 100 ISK for a skin, right? You move both items into some data, right? And then you copy this to here and this to here, and then you delete all the stuff in the middle, right? That's cool. And I think they call that ephemeral data in either Eve, Frontier, or Solidity. I don't know. So yeah, and then there's errors and messages and all this stuff. It's very cool. So eFrontier lets you program starbases, which they call smart modules, turrets, which do damage and have weapons on them, and then stargates, right? So players own stargates, and I think there's five. They're allowing five per star system, and then there's 100,000 star systems, and currently 60,000 people who want to play. So I think what's going to happen is you're going to go to war for all these stargates, right? And you're going to blow stuff up a lot, and it's going to be super cool. And then the turrets defend the stargates, which are programmed by people. So like, you know, your alliance owns a certain stargate network, and then you put the turrets on, but like the turrets have finite ammo, and like you can blow up the turrets, and or you can just bring a whole bunch of people there, and it's going to be super cool. Reading the Solidity documentation, it seems like the data structures are very low level and a huge pain in the ass to understand. So that's why MUD exists. MUD is a framework, and a framework, as I understand it, is a whole bunch of new data structures and new functions, right? So that it makes it make more sense to type code, right? So Solidity goes on and on about like the number of bits for like an integer or a the number of bytes for any other type of data. They don't really have tables, so like mud allows you to make tables. And so when you're doing like a game like Eve, right, you have grids. So like tables are super important. So the people who wrote mud wrote it so that you can do gaming on Solidity, which uses the Ethereum virtual machine. So it makes typing your code a little bit easier. You don't have to understand the bits. You do the tables, and you know that's kind of cool. Um, uh, yeah, and then the other thing that Mud adds is when you're changing data in the blockchain, it automatically writes the messages and errors for you, right? Solidity allows you to do that, and then Mud does it automatically. So that's super cool. And we're doing all of this so that we can write code for our own starbases, stargates, and turrets. And we'll see how that works on Tuesday. Um, but I'm super excited. And personally, what I really hope is that they'll allow us to write mission bases, right? So we can like write our own quests, because CCP had no interest in that after like 2006. They might have changed it like once, but basically you're doing the same quests or missions in 2024 as you were in 2004. So user made mission agents using smart structures. That'll be super cool. I really like CCP because they are super ambitious with what they do. I'm disappointed that Dust 514 didn't work out. I'm disappointed that, was it Valkyrie, didn't work out. So I'm giving Eve Frontier maybe a 70% chance it'll be around in a year. And this is a closed alpha. They have a lot of work to do. So I'm giving it a 50-50 shot whether this will reach 1.0 in a year. But yeah, wanted to make this video before I sign my NDA and can't talk about it with anybody. So join up. It's super cool. You can play go to efrontier.com. You pay $30 to $90 for access to the closed alpha. Yeah, fly safe, everyone.